Hey, right on Side Saddle. It is Lisa.
And Tammy.
And Tammy's got a little feist tonight.
We're reading the book that never ends.
So listen. So while we were doing some planning for season 8, which we are now in, right? This is the first episode of season 8.
It is.
Really, really exciting.
Welcome to season 8.
Oh my gosh. We are going to be coming into, I think, our 2 years of recording
soon
through this season.
Yeah.
Like that's
in
kind
September,
of
right?
kind of a big damn deal. So yay, season 8.
Yeah.
That just fills me up, like, entirely.
For sure.
But my point is that while we were planning and preparing, how are we going to do this? You know, we got some changes in mind.
Yeah.
We are doing every other week format now. And I said to Tammy, do you want to just ace the book? Do you want to just forget the book?
Axe it. Yeah.
Yeah. And she said,
no.
No, we can't do
that.
I can't not finish a book.
Yeah,
I mean,
we have to finish it.
Tammy says, I've done that maybe once in my lifetime, but I really do not like doing it.
I don't.
But she's going to bitch about it the whole way.
I am.
You know what, girl? At least you're
That's
honest
true.
with yourself. Like,
It's
entirely
true.
honest.
Yep.
So this is going to be a fun next 50% of the book.
Yeah, because we are, I don't even know if we're not even halfway yet.
I'm trying to just measure out, but yeah, it's probably not even halfway.
Quite halfway. Maybe if you take the acknowledgments, nope, still not halfway.
I think my tabs make this first half thicker.
Oh, your tabs. Oh, really? Oh, let's talk about your tabs, Lisa. You have a lot of dang tabs there, just so you know.
I love the fucking book. Okay?
That's funny.
So we're in chapter 7.
We are. It starts on page 213.
It does.
If
And
you're following along.
the chapter title is Joyous Body, the Wild Flesh. It's a shorty.
Yep.
So, really, I mean, in a sentence, really, it speaks to cultural requirements. And we've talked about this so many times with writing Side Saddle. I think as women, I think just society in general, this is a significant thing. It probably impacts men more now than probably it ever has before. Expectations and what the culture requires of you, just from a physical
standpoint, the way you look,
yes,
the way you dress,
yes,
yeah.
And women too, right?
For sure.
We've been held to standards and expectations
since forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
But now I feel like it is even more than it ever has been before.
For men too.
For men too. But even if we're just talking about women.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Just for women.
Oh, I agree.
Even though it has been a problem, right? Now it's...
Well, I think it's the same problem. It's just that it's literally at your fingertips now. You don't have to go looking for it. You know what I mean?
Fair.
It's on every social media app you have. It's on every ad. And all of those are literally at your fingertips.
Yeah.
It used to be you'd have to watch TV or, go to the store and buy a magazine or, what have you. It's just always in your face now.
I think I agree with that entirely. Also, in addition to that, I think that some of the expectations are so fucking extreme.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
for sure.
Like, do you remember? Okay, I'm sure you remember the movies The Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Right? And how that, like, society looked like, and how, like, foreign and fake and artificial they all looked.
Sure.
It, honest to God, is what it feels like now. Like, you can't even feel comfortable in the body. Even if it were the most, like, perfect, flawless, cultural, like, ideal body, that's still not good enough, right? Because it literally has to be chiseled down to, meet an unrealistic expectation for a waist.
Sure.
And you have to have implants put in to other things like your hips and your ass because you can't possibly make them big enough.
Right.
To meet the expectations. And an easy one would be like the eyelashes. Nobody has the fucking eyelashes that, like,
people wear today.
Oh my gosh. Like, it's impossible.
Big eyelashes.
It is impossible.
Yeah, caterpillars.
Yes,
yeah.
Caterpillars.
Mm-hmm.
I tease Elizabeth because she's in this generation.
Yeah.
And they wear eyelashes.
All wear those eyelashes, yeah.
That girl leaves them around in the house, and it scares the living hell out of me sometimes because it looks like the biggest centipede I've ever seen in my life.
For sure.
So, yeah, she'll like lay them on top of one another, and then like they look like two caterpillars like mating or something. She's trying to create babies because those things are expensive.
They are expensive, yeah. That's funny.
But that's my point, is that the level of extremism is ridiculous. Like, it's not even possible.
Right.
And now it's the new standard.
Yeah. I was listening to a book, and I don't remember the name of the book. But there was a storyline in it where this young couple won the lottery. And so the husband goes out and buys a Lamborghini. And he pays more attention to that car than he does to his wife. And she starts going under the knife for one cosmetic surgery after another. So while they're both spending large amounts of money, he feels like she's ruined herself. He loved the way she looked before, and now she's done all of, the big lips and the boobs and the, all of the things. And he doesn't understand why she's wrecking herself. You've completely ruined your look. And she thinks she looks better than she ever has.
Yeah.
And her friends tell her, you look so good. Your lips look so great. It is like the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? So while he looked at her and thought,
what I loved about you.
Yes, you've
destroyed it.
They kept using the word ruin. You've ruined it. She thought she looked better than ever and couldn't understand why he wouldn't just be happy for her, that she was happy. She was happy with the way she looked. So it's, I don't know that sort of scenario would have been written in a book 30 or 40 years ago. Right? Because that kind of extreme changes to your physical appearance, it didn't happen. It wasn't a thing.
Right.
Now it's more commonplace to the point where, it's literally in a book where, hey, if you win the lottery, this is what you would do to yourself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's drive-through level types of things now.
Right.
It isn't like I need to make this really distinct choice that's like life-changing and requires so much of me to do. It's like drive-through service.
Right.
Yeah. So interesting.
It is interesting. I'm not sure how we got to a place where, I think facelifts have been a thing for a long time.
For sure. And boob jobs and tummy tucks and things like that.
Right.
But
like the constant tweaking
to the point where part of you.
Yeah. I'm seeing some celebrities who are getting into the 50, 60-year-old range. Like they're not hardly recognizable
at all. I agree with that.
They look like Cindy Lou from The Grinch.
Yes, it looks so fake. Like you don't even look like a real person.
You don't. It's distracting. I can't hardly watch movies when some of these actresses and actors have done this to their face because it's so disturbing to me.
Yeah.
That's too much.
It's like the Hunger Games.
Yes.
It does not look real.
You're right.
It looks artificial.
Well, it is artificial.
I mean, yeah.
And they've gone too far with it. It's no longer a little, little eyelid tweak to,
Right. Well, artificial used to be like make you younger the way you used to look. Right. But now it has gone to this weird place of
enhancing in
so
some
much
way.
That you don't even look like, you don't look real.
No.
At all.
You don't look like you used to. And you don't look like you should.
Right. That. Eeks.
Yeah. So this whole book basically, or this whole chapter, basically talks about that sort of thing.
Speaks exactly to it.
The societal expectations for what is beautiful.
Yeah. And being able to recognize that we are who we are. we are designed to be different.
Right.
Some of us are designed to be tall and slender and thin and blue-eyed and brunette hair and freckles. And some of us are not. Pale skin and, different toned skin, and your weight fluctuates. The length of your legs fluctuate. The size of your feet fluctuate. And it's all supposed to be that way.
Mm-hmm. The Olympics are on right now as we're recording this, and I've watched a little bit of it. And I mean, look at, these are like elite athletes, right? World class elite athletes. A gymnast has a very different body shape than a swimmer, for instance.
Absolutely.
Or a triathlon athlete, right? To say that there's one way a person should look is ridiculous. Even these world-class athletes don't all look the same.
They couldn't. They wouldn't be at the top of their game if they all were.
Right. For sure.
Right. It's, I don't know if it was in the book or if it was a post that I clipped to save and put during this period of time, but it was really around like think about the wildflowers.
Oh gosh.
Like they all have beauty in and of themselves.
Right.
But they're not very different. The same.
Some are tall, some flowers are delicate, some are a little thicker and sturdier, some are better in a desert environment, some are better in the northern climate.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they all have beauty.
They do.
Their own unique
for sure
part of it.
And it's the same for people.
Yes.
Right?
It absolutely is.
So she's talking about when she says, when women are relegated to moods, mannerisms, and contours that conform to a single idea of beauty and behavior, they are captured in both body and soul and are no longer free.
That resonates so deeply with me.
Me too. I thought that was actually really quite profound.
Yeah.
Right?
You're so busy trying to, well, first of all, you're so busy comparing, right? And cutting yourself, cutting yourself down. I wish this, or, oh, I wish I had that, or
I could have that kind of happy life if only I had longer legs.
Right.
I could find love if only I had bigger boobs.
Right.
If only my nose wasn't so whatever.
Right. I'd have more self-confidence if. Right.
And all of that is tearing away at
who you are.
The teeniest shred of self-confidence you might have left.
It is. It's that. Absolutely, it's that. But it redirects your energy.
For sure. Right? So you don't actually get to know yourself.
That. You can't be who you are meant to be because you're so busy worried about why you aren't the same as everybody else.
Yes. Right. She says that to be thought ugly or unacceptable because one's beauty is outside the current fashion is deeply wounding to the natural joy that belongs to the wild nature. You never get to be who you're meant to be.
Right. You don't even cultivate it.
Because you're trying to be somebody else.
That. You don't even cultivate it.
No.
And nobody has the opportunity to know that person.
Exactly.
Especially you.
Correct.
Especially. Not including, but especially
you. Yep. That's really sad.
It is.
Yeah.
So some of the things that she talked about in here were some examples of herself and another woman that she knows, both from different areas of the world from an ancestry perspective. And they ended up both meeting each other within the United States.
Yeah.
One has ancestry in West Africa. She herself had ancestry in Mexico.
Right.
And there are certain physical characteristics that, these two women had. The woman from West Africa was very tall and very slender, and she had a slit between her two front teeth.
Her teeth.
Yes. The author, Clarissa, had ancestry in Mexico, and she has a very different body type, right? Very much closer to the earth, she said.
Yeah.
AKA
I love that.
Short.
Right. Right.
And
I'm just closer to the earth.
Yes, that sounds lovely.
For sure. Yes. I don't walk on tree stumps. I have legs that can carry a lot of weight. I have very strong legs that can carry a lot of weight.
Sturdy.
Sturdy legs.
Sturdy, earthly legs. But Clarissa
Feel a little like a
herself,
teapot, short and stout.
just close to the earth, Tam.
Okay.
But Clarissa has a different body shape.
Mm-hmm.
She is shorter in
Right.
stature, and she's more full, right?
Yes.
Like she just
Right.
has a more full
Yeah.
figure.
Mm-hmm.
So she talked about how within the States and the culture here, like, created the situation where like they can't be proud of the things that they
Right.
bring forward. However, if they go back to their original ancestry,
Where their families
right,
come from. Yeah.
there are very different perspectives on those qualities and characteristics.
Sure.
For instance, the gap between the teeth in the United States, they talked about
That's
like
a flaw.
yeah, and
Yeah.
how, that means that this person is a liar.
Oh, yeah.
When in fact, in her home, right, her ancestral home, it's actually an indicator of true wisdom.
Right.
Same thing was for Clarissa, excuse me, where, in the United States, that is not like, that's not ideal.
Her body shape, her body type.
Yeah, there's
Mhm.
shaming around that. Like
Sure.
there's a thin woman
should lose
screaming
weight.
to get out.
Right.
Why don't you like help release this woman from all of this extra stuff that is undesirable?
Yeah.
Whereas in her home, right, the ancestral home,
In Mexico.
they say, "Have you been sick?
Right.
You don't look full enough."
Right.
Like we are women of the earth. I'm going to cry. We are women of the earth. The earth is round. We
Right.
carry much. Right? We're
Yes.
supposed to be this way.
Right.
We come from the earth.
Right.
And
Right.
it is
And there's the opposite of shame there.
yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
That is a beauty standard.
yes. Yes.
Where her ancestors come from.
right.
Right.
They're
But
trying
where
to
her
feed her.
neighbors live,
Right.
it isn't. Right.
It's just very interesting. It is so like that made it very clear how subjective
For
that
sure.
is. It may be widespread in your culture, right? And it feels like maybe you can't get around it, but it is very subjective.
Mhm.
And to your point from earlier, even inside of our own cultures, there is beauty to the eye of the beholder.
Right. Right.
So today's Monday. We were getting ready this morning, and I was in a hurry because I had to leave early this morning. This is TMI, but I just realized that in this moment
It fits.
It exactly. So I'm racing around. I had clothes. The clothes that I was going to wear was not in the bathroom by me, so I'm standing
Oh.
in front of the mirror naked. I don't have clothes on, and I'm hustling.
Yeah.
It was just Scott and I home. The dogs don't give two shits about whether or not I'm naked.
Yeah, they probably don't know.
No, they do not care. And
Got a snack in there somewhere.
right, probably.
Only care because you don't have pockets for snacks.
Right.
Yeah.
And Scott was in the kitchen doing something, doing his own thing, and he came into the bathroom, and I wasn't expecting it.
Mm.
And in that moment, I was like, oh gosh, like I feel so vulnerable. I don't like the lights are bright. I don't want him to
Yes.
see me this way.
Yeah.
Like,
I do.
it isn't appealing. I didn't find myself appealing in any sort of way. Like I was just getting shit done. Right. But I happened to be naked.
Yeah. Right.
So please just
Yeah.
mind your own business.
Yeah.
Don't look this direction. Cause I didn't feel like,
Right.
I didn't feel good. It was just the current situation. And he stopped in that moment and he said, "You are beautiful."
Oh.
And what was playing in my head was everything about how vulnerable I felt and how not very beautiful I was feeling. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That.
It is.
I said, "Thank you.
Now,
Please
get
leave
out.
now." That.
Close the door when you leave.
Right. Oh, forget it. I'll do it. I'll lock it too.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah. But it is also in the eye of the culture. And that doesn't
Right.
necessarily mean that it is accurate.
So, to your point, Clarissa says, destroying a woman's instinctive affiliation with her natural body cheats her of confidence. And in that moment that you just described,
Yeah.
you did not have any confidence.
No, I really was wishing that he would just have carried on in the kitchen.
Could you not be looking at me right now?
Right.
Yeah. It causes her to perseverate about whether she is a good person or not, and bases her self-worth on how she looks instead of who she is.
So
this is just my shell. It's not who I am.
Yeah, but
and I am worth more than the way my physical self looks.
I get that. And it is true, entirely true. And in the same breath, I have felt that way when I've been frustrated about my weight and trying to manage it because I know that it is not healthy for me. Okay. And things are not going, like I'm not able to manage the way I feel like it needs to be managed. And that does have impact on me as a person, and my character.
Sure.
Right. Because I'm clearly not doing something right, or I don't have the willpower, or, you know what I mean? Like it does.
My best isn't good enough.
Yes. Like it does filter into your value of yourself,
for sure,
whether you want it to or not.
Right.
And I'm not saying that, try to be, size 3 or any of those things. It was my personal experience with not feeling good in my body,
right?
Regardless of what the culture says,
for
right?
Sure.
I'm not feeling good in my body. I need to address that. And for years, it was not working.
Right.
So it does have influence on your value of your character and who you are.
For sure. I think that the slight, I'm just going to shift the perspective just a tiny bit. That it's one thing to look at yourself and see all these flaws. I'm overweight. I have this, I don't know.
Lump, bruise.
Yes.
Hairy,
dimples,
something.
Whatever, right? Like dimples where they don't belong. Yeah. That I think is really focused more on a superficial, the way I look, the way my body is shaped, which is more like comparing yourself like to the societal beauty standards, as opposed to I'm not feeling healthy. I'm overweight and it's impacting the way that I move or don't move.
Right.
I am feeling like I can't do the things that I want to do. It's impacting my life. I need to do something about that. Those feel like two very different things to me.
I think that they are two things that are different, but can be confused for one another.
I agree.
Easily.
Right. But there is a very slight difference, and I think it's a healthy difference.
Agree.
I would be happy if only I weighed 120 pounds.
Yeah.
That feels not healthy.
Right.
I need to lose some weight because it's impacting my quality of life. I know it's shortening my life. I need to do something about that. Is very different than I can't be happy until.
Right. I have put on 10 pounds for the last 4 years in a row.
And I need to take it off.
That.
Because it's
not healthy.
Negatively affecting me.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I had.
Yeah, same. I once had someone tell me, someone I had dated for a little while, we were talking about the keto diet.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, we should do that. And you'll be 120 pounds. We'll get you down to 120 pounds in no time. And I looked at him and I said, who said I want to be 120 pounds?
Wow.
Yeah.
So was that your last date?
Fairly close.
Yeah.
Fairly close.
Because that would be a hard stop.
Yeah, there was a lot of backpedaling as I remember it. But that whole, again, it was the beauty standard, right? Like if you don't like the way I look, then we don't have to have another date.
Right. It's that meme that is out, I see pretty regularly. She's a 10, but, and whatever fill in the blank.
Right.
Like, you would be really lovely if.
Right.
Fuck that. I am
lovely, period.
I'm a 10, period.
Right. Right.
I mean, we shouldn't be scaling this, but you get
also
my point.
True. Right.
Right. You get my point.
Yeah.
Like, I already am. Thanks.
Just because I am.
Right.
Not because I look a certain way. Not because I don't look a certain way.
Correct.
Just because I am.
Right. I'm a fucking wildflower. If you don't like this kind of wildflower, carry the fuck on.
Go to the next field. You'll find a different one.
Carry the fuck on. Done with you.
Yeah. Right.
Last date.
There you go.
See ya, fucker.
Yeah, that was pretty close to the end.
Good.
Anyway.
So really that it did spend a really good amount of time talking about beauty standards and how it just does not correspond with, well, actually, this is a good point, does not correspond with you as a person in your wild sense.
Right.
In fact, one of the things that it talks about, and you probably have this tabbed, is saying, it talked about if you cannot trust yourself in the realm of feeling confident, then your intuition doesn't work well, right? Nothing that your body is trying to tell you about life and about, get out of this situation or, go and investigate this as part of intuition, signs and, your gut instinct. If you have turned yourself off to your body because it doesn't meet a standard of beauty, then you have created some self-trust problems within yourself. And that turns off all of those other things.
Yeah. So I think there are lots of things that turn off all of those little signals that our body gives us every day, right? She does talk about that. And I start it because, so I have recently been doing the macros tracking also, right?
Yeah.
And boy, oh boy, you have to eat a lot of food to hit all those macros every day.
You sure do.
So, well, I would read about, eating healthy and exercising, and I felt like I knew everything there was to know. I just couldn't get it all to fit together. And I saw all the time that if you don't eat enough, then your body goes into starvation mode and it hangs on to everything you do give it.
Yeah.
I thought I was eating enough.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, I had never tracked calories before or anything like that. So I had no real reason to think that other than the fact that when I was hungry, I ate. And when I was not hungry, I stopped eating. And right? Intuitive eating, I thought that would be just fine. Right? What I came to realize recently is I have for years have been clenching my teeth to the point where I give myself screaming, raging headaches because my jaw is so tight. It pulls the muscles from the back of my neck and the back of my head until they're like in a vice. I didn't understand why I was doing it. I don't even know that I'm doing it until I've got a raging headache. So, and I do it in my sleep. Where I have no control over it. I wake up with a raging headache then. What I came to realize recently is that when I go too long without eating, I start clenching my teeth.
You're hungry.
I'm hungry.
It's your body.
That is a hunger signal.
It is your
that
body
I didn't recognize.
Indicating, I need something from you right now.
Yes, exactly.
That's really interesting.
Right. And so what I thought for my whole life, if you don't want to be fat, then you just shouldn't eat so much.
Right. That.
Don't eat too little, but don't eat so much.
Right.
Clearly you're eating too much because you're gaining weight. Right. So you should just not eat so much.
Not even
close.
Truth.
Right. And so that signal my body was giving me, these screaming headaches.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's because I wasn't eating enough.
Right. And
in part,
eating
I think there's a couple other reasons,
Well,
but in part, it's that.
right. And there's more to macros than that, right? You have to eat
sure.
the right combination of
For
things
sure.
as well. You can't
Right.
just like
I'm
veg out
not
on...
eating Snickers bars all
Right.
day, but yeah. But she talks about that how the body is a multilingual being. Like we all know about our five senses, right?
Yes.
She talks about there's a sixth sense, and I'm not finding that what that actually is right now. But she says it speaks through its constant tiny dance, sometimes swaying, sometimes a jitter, sometimes trembling. It speaks through the leaping of the heart, the falling of the spirit, the pit at the center, and rising hope.
It's your gut.
It's your gut.
Yes.
Right. But when you're so busy,
Yep.
focused on these other things, that you are not able to listen to what your body is telling you, because we've listened to all these outside sources that say, you don't look right, put that cheeseburger down.
Right.
Do you really need that candy bar?
Then you don't necessarily understand what the message is.
Right.
Like I can feel jittery or pit in my stomach, but it's so buried with like self-doubt that I'm not even hearing it anymore.
Right.
Or I can't decipher what it means.
Right.
Yes.
It's like when you're thirsty, but you don't even know you're thirsty. You think you're hungry.
Right.
Because you haven't listened.
Right.
For so long that you can't tell what it is you need.
Right.
It's that.
It's like a foreign language.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've talked quite a bit in previous seasons about creativity.
Yes.
And how it's essential to being human. And she talks about how we have all these biases against our natural body, and we encourage women to turn their attentions to a constant monitoring of their body, thereby robbing them of deeper and finer relationships with their given form. Angst about the body robs a woman in some large share of her creative life. You don't have the energy to do the things that literally bring you life because you're so worried.
Yeah.
And angst-filled. And focused.
Yeah, it's where your focus lies.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it all surface.
Right.
Keep it all surface.
Right.
Let's start selling waist corsets that bring us back to what? Like the 1800s? So that we can have waists that ruin our organs internally.
Right.
And that's what we're going to focus on.
Right.
Sweet.
Right.
It is creating shells of women. It is.
Wow.
As long as you look good on the outside. And that's where your focus needs to stay.
Because that is all that you have to offer is what's on the outside.
Yes.
That is crap.
Yes. It's like speaking about a woman who has been successful in whatever regard, career, whatever. Mm-hmm. Well, she slept her way there.
Right. Minimizing her talent.
My value is my vagina.
Right.
And
that's all it can be.
That's it.
Right.
That's it.
It can't be because I'm smart. It can't be because I'm a go-getter or I'm a great marketer or
period. Right. Whatever. Fill in the blank.
Right.
Focus on your waist. How small can you get that waist? Then you can't possibly be big. Right. And powerful and successful and achieving. And if you are, then clearly you've gotten it
used your
because you had sex with somebody who was powerful.
Right.
It's all part of the same.
It for sure is.
It's like a multi-headed monster. It's all part of the same. Mm-hmm. But really what it continues to do in every sort of way is removes the value of women. Internal value.
That's yucky. Internal value, meaning we value ourselves individually.
Yes.
Less.
Right.
Yeah. That's yucky. That's really yucky.
I hate it.
So she talks about how to change that. She says a woman cannot make the culture more aware by saying the word change.
Yeah.
But she can change her own attitude toward herself, thereby causing devaluing projections to glance off. Mm-hmm. So when you start with if only my thighs didn't
rub.
Yeah. jiggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Protrude.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Just letting those it just goes right out.
Yep.
It doesn't stick. Right. She does this by taking back her body, by not forsaking the joy of her natural body, by not purchasing the popular illusion that happiness is only bestowed upon those of a certain configuration or age, by not waiting or holding back to do anything.
Yes.
By taking back her real life and living it full bore, all stops out.
That.
By being big.
Yes. And so we've been talking about physical attributes a lot in this, in this episode, and it speaks a lot about that, but she also speaks a lot about age, right? And age is one of the factors from a cultural perspective.
For sure.
And fuck, do I feel that?
Yeah.
Right? Like the invisible middle age thing is a real thing.
Yeah, it is.
And like, it is, I look at this chapter and I remember what I looked like when I was 20 and before kids. And, when I was in my 30s, I remember what I looked like, and I don't look like any of those things. And I think now in my life, I am more okay with that than I have ever been. And I think in part it's because of my age, not despite my age, but because of my age and the evolution of my body, from a little girl to a young woman to a mother to, all of those things, that I know it's going to keep evolving. And now, because of that wisdom of my age, it's the perfect time to be able to say, I don't really give a shit about what your cultural standard says. I am going to be big now.
I'm going to love myself.
It is the first time.
No matter what I look like.
Yeah. It is the first time in my life where I feel like I'm good. Do I want to be better? Of course I want to be better. I want to be stronger because that makes me happy, right? Not to meet a certain cultural expectation or wish I had the body that I had 20 years ago and 30 years ago and, all of those things. But I feel like finally I've cracked that wisdom because probably of my age, where I'm like, fuck off. I really don't care.
Right.
As long as I feel good, as long as I feel
have to
good.
live in this body.
Yes.
So what you think of my body is not relevant at all.
Right. That.
If I don't like how I feel because I am not able to do the things that I want to do when I want to do them.
Right.
That's
one thing.
That is one thing.
And I will come to the line on it.
For
right?
sure.
Like I will talk to me about that.
Right.
But I don't have to live
but not because
to a
you
standard
told me I
of
should be
somebody
120
else.
pounds.
Right.
Right.
I don't feel the need to try to meet that standard in any sort of way.
No.
For the first time probably in my life.
That's beautiful. And sad all at the same time.
It is.
Yeah.
But I'm here now.
But you got there.
I'm here.
And that's beautiful.
Yeah. And I'm ready.
Yeah.
Still got her groove back.
It's Lisa's turn.
That's right.
Watch out, world.
That's right. So I think because of age, at least from my perspective, like, and she spins it differently, in the book, but I'm happy to be this age, and I'm happy to have the wisdom that comes with it.
Yep. She says, this is near the end of this chapter, there's no supposed to be in bodies. The question is not size or shape or years of age or even having two of everything.
Yeah.
For some do not.
Right.
But the wild issue is, does this body feel?
Yeah.
This gives me goosebumps. Does it have connection to pleasure, to heart, to soul, to the wild? Does it have happiness and joy? Can it in its own way move, dance, jiggle, sway, thrust? Nothing else matters.
Yeah. So when I was listening to this book, a song, it reminded me of a song, and I was driving, so I couldn't search it out, and then I forgot about it, so I don't even know what it is. But there is a song that talks about your eyelashes. Damn if I can remember it. It's a good song, and it was probably from like the early 2000s. Like I really liked this song. And it talks about like the way it starts talking about it talks about eyelashes, and then you're thinking, oh, long, beautiful eyelashes. But it talked about it from a perspective of they keep the dust out of my eyes.
Oh.
Like the function of,
even if they're not long and dark and beautiful
they work,
beauty standards.
They work beautifully.
Right.
They do exactly what they were supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel silly now because I can't remember the song, and it's a really, like, you'd know what it is.
It's an old song.
Yeah, you'd know what it is. But it catches me up when I hear that song, because I was like, you think like, oh, long, beautiful eyelashes.
Yeah.
Well, fuck, that is not the function of eyelashes in any sort of way.
It? No, they actually do have a purpose.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that speaks to what you're saying. Does it move? Does it function? Does it give you what it was designed to give you?
Right.
We're in this place of AI as a society, as a culture, and it can do
filters everything.
Yeah, it can do the most, like it can conquer humans in most everything. This was actually the summary. The woman who did the summary brought this point up. She compared AI, how it will, hands down, it will overcome any human in most situations, right? Because it's designed that way. Its level of intelligence is so high. Even chess, like it will beat the best chess players.
I see. Humans cannot compare.
Correct.
Is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
However, when it tries to emulate the physical body and making movements like picking up that chess piece, it can't do it. And it speaks directly to how wise your body is. Like the functions of your body don't, like, no comparison to, beauty standards.
Right.
The true function of your body is millions of years wise. That AI can't do it. It
can't even come close.
No. And that really put that in perspective for me. Like, wow.
That's interesting when you look at it.
Yeah. Because they're here to serve a purpose.
Right.
Not be, I don't even know what the measurements are anymore. 36, 24, 36.
I don't
That's
know.
probably not even a thing anymore.
I have no idea.
I mean,
I don't know. Is that whose ideal is that? Somebody's.
I'm not sure. But that used to be the ideal measurements. I don't know what they are now.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's the difference between function and perceived beauty.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, we've been right all along.
Have we?
I mean, since we started the podcast, our first episode was about physical health and wellness.
It has been.
I mean, we've talked about this a number of times.
We have, for sure.
Glad Clarissa agrees with us.
All right, so maybe I did like the chapter.
Thank you. Thank you. You can vent your frustration in the planning sessions.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. But we should wrap this up.
We should.
All right.
So Mind Garden Media,
Thanks
to Todd for putting our podcast together. Wrapping it up.
Every time.
Yep. Always just shows up in the folder. I don't know how he does it, but he does it.
If you're looking for a guy, we have
we know a guy who can help you.
A good recommendation.
Put a podcast together if that's what you're interested in doing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And thank you to our listeners.
Yes. Who
continue on with us, listening in. Please share feedback. We'd love to hear from you. Your own
if you
stories.
know the eyelash song, you should post it.
I will find that. Dang. I knew that was going to come out wrong. It's okay.
But thank you for following and sticking with us. We very much appreciate it.
Thank you.
If you're looking to find us, we're on Facebook. Pretty much that's where you'll find us.
Yep.
Riding Side Saddle.
All right. See you next time.
All right. See ya. Bye. Toodaloo.